Hey y'all, you want to set your child up for success? Is your child struggling with a specific subject or need help with the subject? Is your child ahead, not getting challenged enough in class? Well, IXL Learning is an online learning program that enriches your homeschool curriculum. It offers practice in math, English, language arts, science, and social studies while adapting to each child, meeting them where they are. Plus, IXL encourages students to become curious and empowers them to choose how to learn. Look, we homeschool our son. No doubt about it. He's more of a visual learner, and we use IXL, and Cindy teaches him, and there are so many different benefits to the program. It adapts to exactly what he needs in different areas. So IXL is the perfect supplement to your homeschool curriculum. IXL offers interactive practice problems, educational games, lessons, and video tutorials for every topic you're teaching at home. It's easy to use, time-saving. Everything on IXL is organized by grade, subject, topic, and subtopic, making it simple to find activities for the exact skills you're covering. IXL offers instant feedback and explanations of new topics as kids use the program. Kids can explore any topic in any grade level. They aren't forced into a single learning path like they are on other programs. If you're homeschooling your child because they were falling behind or because they were too far ahead like our son, IXL is a great program to help them get the exact support they need. Kids love IXL's positive feedback awards and educational games. IXL is trusted by 15 million students worldwide and has proven to improve performance in over 75 scientific research studies. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Real Life Real Crime listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/today. Visit IXL.com/today to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price. And don't forget, Real Life Real Crime listeners get 20% off. Y'all, we really do use this product, and it's been a godsend.
Early holiday savings have arrived at Tanger Outlets. Discover the best gifts from your favorite brands, perfect for everyone on your list. And stack your savings with up to 70% off, plus an extra 15 to 25% off only during Tanger Style. Save at Polo Ralph Lauren, Old Navy Outlet, Under Armour, Skechers, J. Crew Factory, and more. Hurry in. These early holiday deals last through November 24th. Tanger Outlets. More savings, more cheer.
With everyone looking to shrink their bill these days, Dunnes Stores gives you new ways to save on your shop with Double Savers. First, you'll save in the aisles when you fill your basket with fantastic low prices across thousands of great products. Then you'll save again at the till with our 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Shrink your bill with Double Savers, new from Dunnes Stores. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
Real Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by Woody Overton and executive producer Toby Tomplay.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney prior to and during any questioning. You can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. You understand your rights?
Your crime spree was over, son. Yeah, you thought you had it licked, but Detective Overton made your sugar turn to shit. Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Warning. This episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that are of of a sexual nature, it should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I did not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts we're retelling you were presented to us by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My description of the crime scenes are what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. Y'all, I'm going to talk about a couple things real quick before we get started and explain. First of all, I want to explain why we're not doing the conclusion of Rapides burning. For those of you outside of Louisiana, you know, we had Hurricane Laura hit, over 2 weeks now? Almost 2 weeks. Anyway, it's total devastation in southwest Louisiana. There's still almost 170,000 people without power, but it actually went through Rapides also, Rapides Parish, and I know their courthouse was closed all week last week. People were without electricity for 7 or 8 days in Rapides, and I'm doing the interview, and it'll be released next week that I told y'all I was going to do with some more damning information, and we're going to conclude that series. But it's stuff that y'all need to hear. But that's why today I'm just going to do a regular episode. But our prayers go out to all the people affected by Hurricane Laura. And look, I know we lost everything in 2016. I know what it's like to lose your home and have to start over from scratch. And I know what it's like from working all the named storms and for 20 years in the state of Louisiana. I know what it's like to be without power. I don't remember the name of the storm, but I was with the state police, and I can remember going to my office. I was single at the time, going to my office and sleeping on the floor just so I could have some air conditioner after 8 or 9 days without power. So I get it. Y'all hang in there and you'll get through it. Louisiana strong. And in California, y'all, all you lifers out there, we're praying for you. California and the western states that are burning, we're praying for you. And people are losing everything. So it's going to take, I think Rapides burning, the conclusion is more important. I just don't want to do it in the middle of the weeks where all this is going on. We'll wrap it up next week. Plus, I couldn't get up there to do it. So that being said, I'm going to tell you an original today from 2005. Let me think of a name real quick. Street Justice. We'll call this episode Street Justice. And listen, I got to say this, okay? This episode is going to have some stuff that's hard to hear. It is not for everybody. Heed my warning, people. Don't be that asshole that goes to iTunes and leaves a 1-star review that starts with, well, Woody gives a warning before every show, but, and then goes into, leave me a 1-star saying about cursing and my descriptions of the crime scenes and all that shit. Hey, if you don't like it, don't listen. And I'm sure that person is still tuning in, listening to this one. I guess it's like driving by a car wreck that they have to tune in to see what it's going to be. I don't want to ruin your day. I'm telling you right now, this is a hard story to hear. Turn it off if you don't like it. Street Justice. In 2005, all right, y'all, I doubt this person is still even alive, the victim, but I'm not going to say the victim's name. I will say the last name of the suspects involved. I'm not going to say what city it happened in. Or anything like that. So I'm going to leave that stuff out. If you feel so inclined to go look it up by these last names, and then good luck to you because, there's stuff on there, but there's no news articles. There's only the appeals process, etc. But Street Justice, in 2005, in the month of April, there was a 76-year-old lady who lived in a small town in a neighboring parish to Livingston Parish. at the same time, in 2005, I was a detective with Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office, and Brian Paul Smith was my partner. But this story starts in a small town in the neighboring parish to Livingston. And y'all, for the people who are listening for the first time and don't know, Louisiana has parishes, not counties. Okay, so when I say parish, it really means a county. Now, this lady was 76 years old. Her husband had passed maybe 2 years before, two years before, and I believe he was a preacher his entire life, and they always helped people. And she lived alone, and she helped people whenever she could. You know, if you showed up and asked for some food because you were hungry, she was going to feed you. And if you showed up and you're trying to make some gas money or whatever, she would let you cut her grass, etc. And so on this particular day, two guys go to her house, two black males go to her house. One, the last name Belazar, he had been there before, and through over a period of time, this lady knew him. She would always help him out. She would let him cut her grass or do whatever and give him a few dollars change. And he knew her. And earlier in the day, Belazar and McGee, his partner, were smoking crack, and evidently Belazar owed McGee some money. Belazar said, McGee pulled a pistol on him and said, "Bitch, I want my money, and you gonna get it for me today." So Belazar says, "Well, I know where we can go hit a lick at." And hitting the lick, y'all, if you listen to the past episodes, you know that street turns for a robbery. So McGee says, "Well, let's ride, bitch." And they ride over to this little old lady's house during the daytime. And Belazar goes to the door, and he knocks on the door, and he calls her name. She comes to the door in her house gown, nightgown, well, not nightgown, but, you know, like a house, not a robe, but I guess nightgown, whatever you call it. Just, she comes to the door, she looks at the keyhole, and she sees Belazar, who she's known like for a long time, right? And he's like, "Hey, can you open up? I want to talk to you." And she opens the door, and as soon as she opens the door, bam! McGee rushes in and punches her in the face, knocks her to the ground. And it was said later on that he had a gun, but she was just knocked down, and he starts wailing on her, beating on her on the ground, saying, "Bitch, where's the money at? Bitch, where's your guns at, bitch?" And she was like, Stop. She said, I don't have any guns. My money's in the bedroom. And he picks her up by the back of the head and drags her down the hall to the bedroom. And once in the bedroom, he slams her head into the wall, and he spins her around and pins her down on the bed and face down on the bed. And this is going to be hard to hear, y'all. But he hiked up her nightgown and took his penis out and raped her or tried to rape her. He actively tried, okay? Now, this is a 76-year-old lady that he's raping, and that shows you what kind of piece of shit that you're dealing with right here. Now, both McGee and Belazar are long-time frequent flyers in their small town. They've got numerous criminal convictions. The local cops all know them, et cetera. But anyway, so he pins her down, and he's. I mean, what is the mindset? You're there for money and stuff that you can take to sell. Why would you try to rape a 76-year-old lady? So he's behind her. He's shoving his penis in on and about the area of her naked vagina and saying all kinds of nasty shit to her. And Belazar, she's begging and saying, "Just take the money, just take the money." And
they did. They took her deceased husband's jewelry, her jewelry, what little money she had, etc. And he beat on her some more, physically beat on her, and then they stuffed her in a closet. And I don't think he necessarily left her for dead, because they barricaded the closet door with some chairs. So they locked her in the closet. I don't think you lock her in the closet, you think she's dead, but she was severely beaten, and the rape part, right? And so they leave. Before they left, they ripped the phones out of the walls in the house. And at some point, she is able to get out of the closet, and she sees the phones are ripped out, and she has to go out and seek assistance, right? So the cops get called, and they come out, and they work the scene. She told them what happened. Now, look, you got to give props to this lady, right? She's a strong individual, and it'll come into play later on when I tell you about the rest of it. But to go through that, to be savagely beaten and raped or attempted rape in your own home, and then to stand up and to be robbed. And I mean, if you've ever been robbed, being robbed when somebody steals from you, that's bad enough. But to be violated in your own home in every way possible, and then have the cops come out and have the guts, you go to the hospital and all that, but to have the guts to stand up and say, yeah, I know who it was. She said, I know the one guy's Belazar. He's been to my house before. I've helped him before. Husband, I helped him. I've known him. I guarantee you it was him. She said, I don't have any idea who the other guy was. So the cops get a warrant for Belazar, and they go and they arrest him. He flips like a little pancake bitch on McGee and tells what happened. He said that McGee had a pistol when he admitted they were smoking crack. He said that he owed McGee money. McGee pulled a pistol on him, and of course he tried to minimize his involvement, but he said that they went over there. He said McGee raped her and beat her, and they took the money and left. Now, what he didn't say, well, he did actually. He told them when they left, they smoked more crack, and then he went to, I think, his father's house, and he told his father and his uncle that McGee had just raped and beat an old lady. Well, the motherfucker didn't call the police, and he didn't call an ambulance, and he knows they left her stuffed in a closet, and chances are there was a very real chance that she could have died from that, which would have been a death penalty case. But in the state of Louisiana, if you're...
At AmeriHealthCaritas Louisiana, we help people get care, stay well, and build healthy communities. Care is the heart of our work at AmeriHealthCaritas Louisiana.
13 or under, or I think it's 72 or older, that it makes it aggravated rape. So it could still technically be a death penalty case. But he's getting high, and he went out and bought more powder cocaine and brought it back to his house and made crack during this time. He ain't worried about the victim. He just got fucking caught. I mean, I don't know what are you thinking. You know the lady knows who you are. You call out her name and you say your name. Hey, Miss such such. Hey, it's Belazar. And can you open the door so I can talk to you? And she opens the door, and McGee goes in and attacks her like the savage beast that he is. So Belazar gives it up. Cops get a warrant for McGee for aggravated rape and aggravated burglary. Now, let me explain the aggravated burglary to you. Simple burglary is if I break into your house and I just steal some shit, and I leave, that's a simple burglary. Aggravated burglary is if I break into your house and I commit any type of, under Louisiana law, if I commit any type of felony
while I'm inside the house other than the stealing, that makes it aggravated burglary. And it's just about as serious charge as you can get besides attempted murder or rape. But it's a badass charge. It carries a lot of time. But certainly they committed numerous felonies once inside. The beating, beating of not all, the beating that she took, but the beating of an elderly person makes it even more aggravated. And then the rape part, etc. Anyway, so they get an arrest warrant. Well, guess what? They know this asshole. He's a frequent flyer. He's one of their best customers, and this guy's rap sheet is longer than my hatred for COVID, right? I mean, it's just huge. So they get the warrant, and they find him at a local convenience store. And again, this is small town America. There's only a couple little stores in the town, and this dumbass is just riding around smoking crack. And when they catch him at the convenience store, he's in his car, and there's actually stolen items from the victim's residence inside the vehicle. So they get him, they arrest him, revise him his rights, they bring him in, they videotaped it, and he confesses. He says, yup, went over there, and he said, yep, I hit her. And he said, I took her in the back room. He said, but I didn't fuck her. He said, I tried, but I didn't fuck her. And they said, what do you mean? He said, I couldn't get my dick in. He said, but I wore a condom. He said, I took her in the bedroom. I slammed her face down. I hiked her nightgown up, pulled her panties down. I took my dick out, and I put a condom on, which I don't believe. He said, I put a condom on, and he said, I kept trying to stick it in, but I couldn't get it in a hole. I just couldn't make it work. And he said, so we just took the stuff and put her in the closet and left. Well, Louisiana, the law for aggravated rape, which is Louisiana Revised Statute 1442, if I remember it correctly, the law is defined as penetration no matter how slight. It doesn't say you have to make full penetration. It doesn't say you have to get all the way in or even an inch in or whatever. Penetration no matter how slight. And I would think this guy, 6 or 7 times he's trying to get it in, I could bet it penetrated at some point, even if it's a millimeter. But anyway, whatever. His claim to fame is that, and he was adamant about, he took the time to put a condom on. Bullshit. I don't believe that. And I think he's worried about another charge, which is he probably had AIDS. And he's worried about another charge like that. I don't get the whole condom thing. I mean, this crackhead is not going to take the time to put on a condom, but he confesses. But he didn't get it in, right? According to him, fuck him. He's arrested on the aggravated rape and the aggravated burglary. But guess what? These cops in this small town have known this asshole forever, and they get to talking to him about the items from the burglary and what was used, et cetera. And, they're trying to recover more shit and build a better case. They're doing a good job. But at some point, he says he used a pipe. And I don't know if that was during the beating, y'all. You got to remember, this was 15 years ago. But I remember it being a pipe. He tells them there's a pipe that he used in the burglary, and he could take him to go get it. They threw it out the window, and he knew where it was. Now, this went on. When they called him at the convenience store, they booked him, and then they're doing interviews, and he went back and forth to the jail evidently a couple of times, and then that'll come into play here in a little bit, and I'll explain why. So he tells them, says, look, if you take me to the spot, I can get you that, and I think it was a piece of pipe. And I guess maybe they were going to use it for DNA evidence, or hoping maybe it had some of her blood on it or whatever. But so they put him in a cop car, marked cop car, one I think only 2 this town has or had at that time. And They take him out there to the spot, and it's...
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone supporting supplement, it's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC.
It's hot in April, right? It's in April. It's the morning time. But the 2 cops get out of the car and they like the old boy enough that, or they've established good enough rapport with him that they put him in the front seat of the police car so he can have some air conditioning. Now, isn't that nice? This guy who beats and rapes old ladies, they're worried about him being cool in the cop car. Okay, whatever. So they said he was handcuffed and shackled. They put him in the front seat. They go down approximately less than 100 yards from the cop car. They're looking for the pipe. And they look back up, and guess what? McGee has decided he is now the proud owner of a cop car. That's right. He climbed over, got in the driver's seat, and he's hauling ass. He took off. Now, don't you know they shit their pants? And when you look up, and that's one of those oh my situations. Oh my, I'm fucked. How do you call that in? You call it in on your shoulder mic saying, dispatch. Well, I'm kind of standing in the field here and do probably the most serious crime they ever had in that town, except for a couple of murders. Then the dude just hauled ass and stole their police car and left them standing literally on the side of the road. All right. So everybody gets alerted. State police, the sheriff's office over there in that parish, all the town units, et cetera, and they call it out. I mean, it's not like he's driving in a car that can't be recognized. He is in a marked police car, marked with the town emblems on the side. It's got the light bar on the top. He just stole the police cruiser. So they call it in. Everybody, it's a bolo. Be on the lookout for our police car because he just stole our shit. And this guy is wanted under arrest for aggravated rape and aggravated burglary, et cetera. Fast forward to me. At that time, I was a detective with Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office, and I was actually on the night shift with Brian Paul Smith. And we were partners when we'd come out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But sometime before then, I actually got a page set to 1021 Brian Paul, which is give him a call. And so I called him and he said, "Hey, he said, you got to come on over to the east side of the parish. They got a manhunt, and I'll explain to you when you get here." And he said, "I'm getting out and I'm trying to put people out on the perimeter right now." I'm like, all right. So I swap over to TAC 2. Now we had at least 3 TACs, y'all, and that's radio channels on our police band. TAC 1 covered the west side of the parish, and at the time I was living in Watson on the west side of the parish. TAC 2 covered the east side. And so I swapped to TAC 2 so I could listen to what was going on because it was going to take me about 35, 40 minutes to drive over there. And where I was going was Louisiana Highway 40, which is the last highway in Livingston Parish in the most northeast corner of Livingston Parish. And it runs east to west. It runs a long ways across the parish, but it runs into the next parish where it dead ends, the parish line is. And that's where I was going. Real rural area, nothing up there. And on that stretch of Highway 40, now Highway 43 crossed it probably a couple miles from the parish line. And Highway 43 runs from the very northern tip of Livingston Parish down to almost, it runs way down south. So that's where I'm going. There's one little country store on Highway 40 up there. Other than that, the houses are sparsely populated, and it's real rural. It's cow pastures and shit, and not swamps up there because it's more farmland, but it's just really rural, and those cow pastures flood and stuff like that. So I'm hauling ass. I'm listening. They're setting up perimeter. The SWAT team's been called out, and what happened was the state police are there, the neighboring parish, the sheriff's office are there, all town units available are there. Everybody's getting put out on the perimeter, and what happened was McGee I guess he thought he was a NASCAR driver or something, but he was taking Highway 40 into Livingston Parish, and it's a real curvy road, y'all, and it's a high embankment in this one spot. And I'm talking about like, must be a 15-foot drop down, and it's just big-ass cow pasture. He lost it in the turn. He lost control of the cop car in the turn, jumped off the embankment, crashed into the field, and totaled this cop car. So I pull up, I get to that store, and I meet Brian Paul. And at the time, Brian Paul wasn't the head of the SWAT team, but that was his next job when he left detectives, right? To be over training and over the SWAT team. But he was like one of the top dogs on the SWAT team. So he was coordinating all that stuff. And I got there and said, look, and he told me what happened. He told me a story about the 76-year-old being beaten and raped, and this guy, how he escaped and stole the cop car. But the cop car was obvious. It was trashed. I think it like rolled a couple times. Like the light bar and shit was halfway across the field. And And how that somebody, honestly, God, I don't know how they got out of the car and got away on foot. I figured we'd catch him. But he told me everything. And he said, Stan Carpenter wanted me up in the area to help assist, to do drive-bys. Now, anytime you get in a big perimeter like this, y'all, in a big manhunt, then the helicopters come out and all that, you're going to start getting a lot of calls from, there's not a lot of people that live up there, but you're going to get calls, people saying, oh, my dog's barking. The highway's shut down. Everything's shut down anywhere around. But you're going to get a lot of calls, and I was going to respond to the calls with uniform or whoever was closest to check them out. And that's what we did. And the manhunt went on forever. And it went on I'm talking about hours and hours and hours, and it was hot, and they had to keep swapping out the canines because the canines couldn't pick up the track. I couldn't understand it because looking at the vehicle, you'd figure there'd be a blood trail. You'd figure there'd be something out there in this field, and they never could get on him. Or a couple of times they thought they were on a track and they lost the track. I don't know, but it was a real shit show, to be honest with you. And as it got dark, there was nothing else they could do, and they didn't have any sign, and they'd been out there all day, and so they called off the search, and that's when I met Brian Paul back up at the store, and Stan stopped by and he said, hey man, y'all on nights tonight, if you can just kind of hang out in the area, do drive-throughs or whatever. And so, all right, cool. So we did, and Stan left, but then we got a regular detective call, and Brian Paul went to catch it. I don't remember if it was another rape case or something, but it was something big enough where the two of us didn't have to go together, and we decided I would stay up in the area, right? So Brian Paul went to handle that, and I stayed in the area. And it's dark up there. There's no street lights. It is rural as you know what, right? It's just, so I'm cruising. I have an unmarked extended cab truck at the time, and so I'm riding around just there was only a couple little roads off that section of Highway 40. And so I'm riding those, and then I'm riding 40 and riding all the way back to Highway 43. And then a couple of hours went by, and I said, you know what? This asshole is out here somewhere. It's too rural. I know he didn't get across Highway 40 because that's where all the cops were. They set up a big perimeter around the area. I figured he's in there laid up somewhere. And if he went north, it wasn't but maybe a mile or two before the next parish line. And so I just figured he was in there, and I was hoping I would get lucky. And I thought, well, you know what? Let me go back out to Highway 43 and hang a right and go into that parish, which is a different parish than the one he came in from. So it's kind of a corner where Livingston meets a couple of areas. And so I did. I went to 43. I hung a right, and I drove up the mile or so, and I crossed out of our parish into an area they call Georgetown. I don't know why, because there isn't anything up there, but they have a sign bigger than shit, a Louisiana highway sign that says Georgetown in the big white letters. And so I'm in Georgetown. I'm not in my jurisdiction. I know this, but I'm just trying to get lucky. And I'm driving along about 50 miles an hour. My unmarked truck was kind of a big jacked up truck, and it was a diesel at that. So I'm driving, and in my rear view mirror and in my side mirror, I see a flash of something to the passenger's side rear. I saw a flash of something like it went into the ditch. I immediately locked up my brakes, and I didn't know for sure. I was going off gut instinct. I locked up my brakes, grabbed my radio. I said, 201's out in Georgetown. Dropped my radio mic. I jump out with my pistol, and I start screaming, I see you, motherfucker. I see you. You better not move. I'm going to blow your fucking brains out. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I figured this guy had a gun. I figured if you're going to steal the cop car, you're going to steal a weapon that's inside the car when you run. Reason why And I don't think the cops, the town cops would admit it because it's embarrassing, right? But I figure he's armed. But anyway, I'm screaming, I see you, son of a bitch. And I'm cursing him for everything, calling him everything but a child of God. I said, you fucking old lady raper. I'm going to blow your brains out, bitch. You move an inch. Well, my radio's going off. I can hear it in the truck. They're like, my dispatchers know me. They knew the tone of my voice. They knew I was always in shit, but they knew if I didn't respond, you better send everybody. And so I'm screaming. I'm not standing in the wide ass open, and I really can't see dick because all I can see is from my taillights backwards. I'm in the dark. I'm guessing the bad guy, McGee, is somewhere in my close proximity. Now, if he'd come out at me, I'd have shot him because I couldn't see, and I'd have had a right to, and because he I said don't move, etc. But I'm not gonna let him steal my shit. So I hear him on the radio. First of all, they 1033 the net for me when I didn't respond. They said 201, and I didn't respond. So they're like 1033 the net, which means hold all traffic on this channel in case I needed the radio, right? Everybody had to swap over to a different channel. And I heard Brian Paul say, 201, I'm coming to you from where he was coming from. And then we had the K9 officer on standby. I had called him earlier. It's Brandon Ashford. Y'all have heard me talk about him many times. His dog, Harry, just absolutely the best. We used to work Uniform Patrol together. We'd been on SRT team together. I know y'all have heard me tell stories about Brandon and Harry, the K9. Now, Harry was what they call a Belgian, I think I'm going to say it wrong, but a Belgian Malinois. It's like a crossbreed between a German Shepherd and something else. And he was a badass dog. But he was trained in everything from narcotics detection to apprehension to whatever, to tracking and biting, taking a suspect down, et cetera. And Brandon was actually the closest one to me. And I heard him say, 201, I'm coming to you. Can you repeat your location? Meanwhile, I'm still screaming, that's right, you motherfucker. You better stay right there. I'm going to blow your brains out. I see you. Well, guess what? That's an old cop trick. I didn't see shit. But that's, like you use that on SWAT when you hit a house and you hit a room, if you know somebody's in there or not, it doesn't even have to be SWAT. You could be in Uniform Patrol clearing a house. I would always scream, I see you. You better put your hands up. I'm going to blow your brains out. Put your hands up. Well, there may not even be anybody in the room, but 9 times out of 10, if there is someone in the room and they're hiding, they sticking those hands up, right? So, and then I'm screaming and doing all these threats, et cetera, on the chance that this cat's even there. That's just an old trick, right? And he doesn't know that I can't see him. And so I grabbed the mic. Well, before I got to the mic, Brandon said, can you 10-9 your location? And the dispatcher came back and said, he said Georgetown. Well, obviously that's not in Livingston Parish, right? And I probably shouldn't have been up there, but I was just doing what I was doing. I was hunting this asshole. But I'm way up there, and I'm way in the country. And so it's just me and the guy. I was able to reach back in the truck. I grabbed the mic, and I said, Brandon, when you get to me, stop when you see my tail lights and turn your spotlight on. I didn't say it loud enough where this bad guy could hear me. I did grab my little portable flashlight, and I'm back out there shining a light in the direction of the ditch. Now, let me tell you about this road was raised up because this area floods a lot. And it's one of those kind of like where he wrecked the car off of. It's one of those type of embankments, and the grass is high as shit. And there's a cow pasture to the left. And again, it could have been deer, something that I saw and crossing the road. It could have been anything, but I just had the gut instinct that it was the bad guy. So I hear Brandon come running up 43, and as he's getting close, he sees my brake lights. He comes out of the turn, sees my brake lights, and he stops his marked unit with the lights on, and he throws the big spotlight
in my direction, and I pointed towards that side of the road, and he shined it in the ditch. And then I backed up because I knew he had it covered, and I called him, and I said, listen, we're going to wait on Brian Paul and some more people to get here. I said, obviously, this asshole's going to run. I said, get your dog out, and but when Brian Paul gets here, we'll let you do your thing, right? So Brian Paul got there because we were so far up there, y'all. I mean, we just couldn't be any more in bumfuck Egypt than what we were. When Brian Paul gets there, he calls out that he's on scene, and I told him the same thing. I wasn't crossing the distance between me and them. I'm north of where they are, and I said, Brian Paul, we're gonna let the K9 work. Now, for the K9 to work, first, one of the reasons I don't want to walk down to where they were is for my own safety. The other reason is if a human being crossed that road, I didn't want to mess up the track for Harry with my own track, the dog, the K9. And so I told Brian Paul, I said, we're going to let Harry get his ass. So Brandon, before he can release the dog, and now the dog, y'all, is trained in a foreign language. I'm not going to tell you which one. And that's so when they get into a apprehension or whatever, if they're, let's say they're biting a bad guy, the bad guy can't say stop, and the dog's going to get confused and think it's his master, right? Now, Harry lived with Brandon. They stayed together. He lived at his house. They trained every day on their days off. They went to national competitions and local competitions. I mean, this is his boy. And Harry got his first bite because of a guy that ran from me. And so he still was kind of a young dog at the time, but probably a couple years old. But he was damn good on the apprehension and attack part. Now, if y'all, I don't know if you ever seen the video, but I've actually put on one of the K9 suits before, which is this big padded suit, and during K9 training, they tell you to run, and then they give the command for the K9 to go get you. And look, the K9 hits you, you go into the ground, and if they get a bite on your arm or whatever, but they hit you with such force, it'll knock any grown man to the ground. So, but before he can release him, he has to give 3 verbal commands. He has to say, and he did it. He said, Sheriff's Office, K9 officer, come out with your hands up. I'm gonna loose the K9. Sheriff's Office. You're supposed to say it 3 times loud and clear and distinct. And let's just say, maybe sometimes, it got said a little quick, but so it was the second command, Sheriff's Office, K9, come out with your hands up or I'm going to loose the dog. Sheriff's Office, K9, come out with your hands up and loose the dog. The dog's gone. Boom. Harry's gone. And it didn't take him 15 seconds. He came my direction. He hit the scent. He hung a hard right, and he bailed off in the ditch, and bitch, it was on. He hits the ditch. We can't see because remember it's a steep embankment, but he got right on that ass. And I'm talking about McGee's ass. But you heard screaming and fighting, and then we run over there, right, and shining the lights, and this asshole was fighting Harry for everything he was worth, and Harry was giving it right back to him in street justice form. And I'm talking about, now we can't shoot. He didn't have a firearm, and we can't get in. I'm not getting up close to try and spray him or anything with Harry. And I mean, all he had to do was stop resisting. And then Brandon starts giving them commands, stop resisting. And he's like, fuck you. And I mean, he was fighting until Harry was getting a lot of bites, but when Harry got a hold of something that was important to him, then he started squealing like a little bitch. And he was like, stop, get him off. And there was a real tactical procedure they have to use for the K9 officer to go down, us to go down with him. And you're not going to call the K9 off until you are sure that
you're on top and you have him in enough physical custody if he decides to get up and run. You're not call a canine off and say, well, get up and turn around and put your hands behind your back. Fuck that. He's going to run, right? So we go down the hill and Harry's tearing that ass up, literally street justice. Justice for the 76-year-old lady he raped is what I'm talking about. Justice for all the bad that he's ever done. And so we go down.
Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdowns scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gifts to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Mochi. Mochi is a telehealth platform that connects patients seeking medication-based weight loss treatment with board-certified doctors and dietitians to help them determine the best treatment options to accomplish that goal. Mochi's program is completely virtual, meaning you can access their services anywhere in the United States and you will be meeting with their team online. You deserve doctors that listen. Mochi is dedicated to providing holistic, patient-centered care that prioritizes overall well-being with the goal of transforming how weight management is approached. Mochi Health takes a holistic approach to weight loss that includes visit with board-certified doctors, nutrition consultations, and medications delivered to your door. Science-backed medications including GLP-1s like Ozempic and generic compound versions, affordable and accessible regardless of insurance coverage. With Mochi, their dietitians work hand in hand with your medication to create personalized nutrition plans that fit your lifestyle. Reach your weight loss goals with science-backed, FDA-approved GLP-1 medications and support from real doctors and guidance from registered dietitians and help with making easy and sustainable changes to achieve results. Y'all have seen this. My wife has done it. My brother-in-law has done it. One of my best friends is doing it, and it really is an amazing process that works. So get started at joinmochi.com and use code RLRC to receive $40 off. That's joinmochi.com and use code RLRC to receive $40 off and let Mochi help change your life.
There. And Brandon calls Harry off, Brian Paul cuffs him, and this dude is covered in blood. I would call for an ambulance, 1018, which means as quickly as possible, because, I mean, I thought the dude was going to die.
And we dragging him up the hill. He starts to fight us again. He kicks at Brian Paul. He tries to bite at me, and then he pulls away like he's going to run. Shit. You ain't got to give a warning this time on the K9. Brandon loosed him again. Harry hit him like a ton of bricks, laid him out, and gets in his ass again. And he was trying to kick Harry and everything else. I'm like, all that blood, he can't be injured that bad. But he's trying to kick him again, and then Harry got a hold of a vital area of importance to the guy and was ripping it, and the guy started to comply again. So what we did this time is we went up, got shackles out, and we actually shackled his feet and took the shackles and hog-tied him behind his back to his handcuffs. So he couldn't kick, he couldn't move, he was immobilized. But let me tell you something, this dude was in bad shape. Now, look, our goal is not to kill anybody, not even by accident. And we certainly didn't want him to die. But he didn't, I mean, we're looking at him, we're looking at all the blood. Of course, we had blood on us, but there's no arterial bleeding, meaning there's no squirting going on. If there was, certainly we would have, applied a tourniquet or done whatever we had to do to try to save the guy. But he was messed up, and he was messed up bad, and he got street justice. And did I feel bad for him? Fuck no. Fuck him. And I know what he did. I know what he did to that lady. I talked to the cops that day. They were on the scene of the wreck and the manhunt and all that. And they told me what he did and that he confessed to it. And he's been doing this forever, right? He was a frequent flyer. So that I don't feel bad for him. And I'm glad I went up to Georgetown and called his ass or was a part of catching his ass. But check this out. Brian Paul was patting him down for weapons, right? And once we had him the second time down, and we had him immobilized, and part of what you do is you take the shoes and stuff off, and he's screaming and hollering and everything else. Oh, I had to spray him before we hog-tied him. I had this after Harry, but he just wasn't going to stop. I did spray him, and that's finally, once the spray kicked in and he started crying like a bitch, he shut up, and he was concentrating on the spray burning him instead of being an asshole and continuing to fight. So, but he knew he was going to prison for the rest of his life, or if not the death penalty. And Brian Paul is searching him. He takes his shoes off and feels his sock, and guess what he finds? A handcuff key. No shit, a handcuff key. So it was believed, or it was found out later on through investigation, that some inmate, when this guy's, he's a local, going back to local jail, somebody he knew slipped him a handcuff key. So he played those dudes, the cops, about going out to look for this piece of pipe, and he meant the whole time to escape, and he did. And so ambulance comes. I rode in the ambulance for their safety. We took him to Lolly Kemp Hospital, which was the closest one in Independence, Louisiana. It was kind of a charity hospital, a public hospital. And the chief of that small town and their guy came and met me, and they were very, very thankful that we called him and that he didn't get to rape anybody else or hurt anybody else. They were not sad that he was in the shape that he was in. That again, that's street justice. And that's it. They took custody. I didn't even have to take him to Livingston and book him because it was outside of my jurisdiction. But I knew, he was a fugitive, et cetera. And I didn't ask him any questions or anything like that. But he was Mirandized and placed under arrest and turned over to custody. Fast forward to the end of the story. He goes to trial. This is another reason I don't feel bad that he got his ass tore up so bad, because he went to trial. They didn't even offer him any type of plea bargain. They charged him with aggravated rape. That's mandatory life. They did not go for the death penalty. They charged him with aggravated burglary. That's, 40 or 60 years, whatever. And aggravated escape from an officer, aggravated flight, which I think it's another 10 or 20 years. And that, y'all,
the aggravated escape means when you are escaping, you put somebody's life in danger. So goes to trial. By the time this thing gets to trial, I'm already transferred to the state police, okay? So a lot of the cases, or most of the cases that we had together at those times that went to trial, whoever I worked it with, they got this. I got a subpoena for them. If I couldn't go, I would call the prosecutor and say, hey, I'm going to be out or working on such and such. I can't come, on this date. They would get the other detective to come in. Because guess what? We're going to say the same shit anyway. And only one of us would write the report on it. And so Brian Paul went to testify on it, and he testified in about everything, basically. He testified about the crash scene, the vehicle being trashed. He testified about our apprehension up there, and that he fought us, and he did fight us in the K-9, and he testified about how bad of a shape he was in and everything else, and he was. He testified about finding the handcuff key, et cetera. Come back. Well, no, but the sad part of it is this lady, the victim, had to take the stand and testify because everybody has a right to confront their accuser. And that sack of shit made her get on the stand and testify. And listen, this is hard to hear. This is the worst part of the story. She gets up and she testifies, and the defense is challenging the aggravated rape. And they make her describe the event in detail, and he's like, but did he penetrate you? And she was like, I don't know. I felt his hard, erect penis going back and forth on me 6 or 7 times, and she said I know it kept hitting my clitoris. Now, how fucking sick is that you're gonna make her get up there and relive the trauma in this Christian lady, pastor's wife, probably 78, 79 years old by this time, to have to get up there and do that. So fuck him. And I'm talking about McGee and his attorney. And my hat's off to that lady for being that strong, for the victim or the survivor for being that strong. So the jury goes out, come back, unanimous guilty verdicts on the aggravated rape, aggravated escape, and aggravated burglary. Now, he challenges it on appeal, and he challenges the aggravated rape, saying he did not penetrate, even though he hit her clitoris, and he went back and forth on the outside of her vagina, that he actually challenged that the state didn't prove that he penetrated her, even though it matter how slight, and he won. But he was convicted of attempted aggravated rape, right? And he got 40 years, sentenced to 40 years for that. Let me back it up. Let me get it straight. They came back on the jury came back on and found attempted aggravated rape because the state didn't prove that he penetrated the victim with his penis. 40 years. Then the aggravated burglary, I think they gave him another 30 or 40, maybe 40. I don't remember. It was pretty much the max. And the aggravated escape, they did find him guilty of, and they gave him another 10 or 15 years on that. Now, all this was to run consecutive, not concurrent, which means when he got done with his first day of the 40 years on the attempted aggravated rape, the very next day, he started his 30 years for the aggravated burglary, right? It's a death sentence. McGee was like 34 or 35 at the time when he did this in 2005. But he did challenge it on appeal. What he had challenged was the aggravated escape, and he won. And he challenged the fact that they couldn't prove that he almost killed anybody, even himself. And the reason they couldn't prove he almost killed himself is the state police who work highway crashes or whatever, the prosecution didn't put on anything at trial that showed how bad the crash was. even though Brian Paul testified to it. And basically, I think Brian Paul was like, if you'd seen the car, you'd have wondered yourself how anybody could have walked away from that. That's how bad it was. So, but anyway, the appeals court upheld it, and they dropped it to simple escape, which I think, only took like 8 years off his sentence. He's going to die in prison anyway. He's a piece of shit. Belazar, I think, got like 40 years for the aggravated burglary. He was principal to aggravated rape. So, street justice. And I'll never forget seeing that guy get his ass tore up. But at the same time, I can't get the image out of my head of him beating this sweet old lady. And then he intended to rape her, whether he penetrated her or not. He had full intentions of raping a 76-year-old lady and did it. I don't know. She's probably deceased by now. That was 15 years ago. But hats off to her for being a champion and being tough. And that's it. So that'll conclude this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, Street Justice. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I want to talk about a couple things real quick. The Rapids burning, again, there's a lot of people that are suffering right now in Louisiana and other places. I am going to conclude that. But I'm going to tell you something. When they lift this COVID restriction, we hit 25,000 members on our Facebook private group page. It's called Real Life, Real Crime, Friends, Fans, and Crew. Crew being spelled with a K. That's a Louisiana term, Mardi Gras thing. KREWE. And we have 25,000 members now in that private group. And that's because people keep inviting and sharing the group and inviting their friends to join. And it's important, because I'm going to tell you something. As soon as we're available and we can properly plan it, if justice for Courtney Coco hasn't happened by that time, we're going to roll up in the Rapides Parish and do a peaceful protest. We're not going to burn shit down. We're not going to kill anybody, but we're going to have thousands and thousands of us. And right now, all the hotel rooms and everything are full and stuff like that because of the evacuees from the hurricane. But when it's time, I'm telling you, they better get off the ass and close out the case on Courtney Coco and make the arrest, because we're going to use the lifers and the crew members, and we're going to go up there and put on the protest of protests, and it's going to get national media coverage, which is the whole goal all along of growing that group. And so justice for Courtney Coco, as always, y'all. And Miss Barbara Blunt, please, please don't forget about her. Don't forget about her. I know the focus has been on Rapides Parish, but it's not a cold case. There are things that are being worked on. And listen, y'all, this is a homicide case. Homicide. And it's not going to be solved in a day, but it's being worked. It's being worked because of the tips that y'all are calling in, just like Courtney Coco's. It's so important. Please continue to call in your tips. All right? It's huge. You just don't know it's huge.
Showtime presents the new limited series, Your Honor.
Dad, I hit somebody and I left him there.
Starring Bryan Cranston.
Don't tell anyone. I can keep you safe if no one hears about it.
There are some truths worth lying for.
I wonder who did this.
The city is waiting. Send a message.
What have you got me into here, Michael?
I need more time!
I can't do it, Dad, any of this.
You have to, or we die.
Your Honor premieres December 6th on Showtime.
And listen, all y'all that keep sending me the cold cases, and Toby, Tomplay, and I, we've just been busy, but I'm going to start a cold case podcast where we work just nothing but cold cases, but it's not going to be live time like we did on Courtney Coco's and like I'm doing on Barbara Blunt's. We are going to take it and work the cold case to its conclusion and record it as it goes along, and then we're going to release the series, okay? So that's coming If you have a loved one who's been murdered, I don't care where it is, and it's a cold case, like I tell you all, and when you message me, email me, woody@realliferealcrime.com. I can't tell you where we're going to work it, but I can tell you it's going to be read, and I can tell you that someday we're going to start this show, and those cases are all going to get a look, okay? And y'all, Instagram, check it out. It's at Real Life Real Crime and at Overton Woody. It's growing big. I'm posting more stuff on there all the time. I'm still learning it, but putting some different stuff that I'm putting different things on there that then are on the crew page or a regular Facebook group. Y'all, we do have a regular Facebook group, Real Life Real Crime. Check it out. Go like it and all that. We have the Real Life Real Crime Lanyap group, which is where you can go. It posts anything that you want to. Your hobbies. You can do lives from there. You can sell stuff. I don't care. We made that for our fans that are crew members and lifers. That the crew page is for true crime. All right, and we try to keep that page on that focus as much as we can. And the Dream Team moderators do a great job. But the Lanyap page, Lanyap is a Cajun word for extra, bonus, or free. Go there, but you have to be a member, and so we'll get you approved and go in there and post what you want. That's an awesome page. But y'all, we have the Book and Book Club that the Dream Team moderators started. Check it out. That's another Facebook page. They do a different true crime book, and they read it and they discuss it, etc., all on Facebook. I get friend requests every day for Woody Overton. I cannot, and haven't for probably a year now, been able to accept anymore unless somebody deletes me, which happens from time to time. But I'm at the 5,000 limit, so I had to create a public persona page or whatever they call it. So send me a friend request, send it there. So I would love to be friends with all of you and talk to all of you, but I can't take any more friends on my private page. You have to go to Woody Overton, public person. I don't know what the hell they call it. Send the request to that page, and I would love to be friends with you. YouTube, we're about to blow that bitch up. We met with some professional people. And y'all just wait and see what's coming. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag on that. I'm going to do a mini episode just about that when it's time. And patron members, thank you. You are your subscription, and I hope you're enjoying and using all your benefits. If we owe you something, let us know. But I know they're staying on top of it really good right now. Your monthly bonus full episode will be coming out next week, and it's a good one. So thank y'all. Hey, if you can't be a patron member, lifers, I don't care. Just continue to like us and share us and help us grow. And everyone, if you get a chance, go to iTunes and leave me a review for Real Life Real Crime, a review on iTunes. And we have over 2,000 something reviews, and we're 5 stars. But go if you want to laugh, and if you know me and you want to laugh, go read some of the 1 stars. They're comical. I'm a racist. I'm everything about a child of God, right? They're comical. So, but anyway, if you get a chance, leave us a review on that. Last but certainly not least, LOPA, Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency, please go to their website. It'll be in the show notes. Sign up to be an organ donor. Give the gift of life, or as I told you last week, or the week before, the lifer reached out that works at the eye bank, and they give the gift of sight. How amazing is that? So do that. And when you go to their website and they have click on the box, how you heard about us, check Livingston, I think it's LTC for Livingston Parish Literacy and Technology Center. Those are the people that got me hooked up with LOPA, and they got me my first live show and all that. And I'm going back there in the next 2 weeks to teach more classes to Miss Kelly Jennings students. So, which will be fun. I'm looking forward to that, Kelly. But they're the best people in the world. Miss Kim Albin is the principal out there, and I wish I'd have had a school like that when I was coming up. But check under LOPA, LTC for Livingston Parish Literacy and Technology Center, and there's a section for criminal justice students. And they're also now, they've added real life, real crime. If y'all want to check that, you can too. But I'm not doing it for real recognition. I'm doing it because we believe it's important. I believe it's important, and it's Real Life, Real Crime's mission to help save lives through LOPA. So, lifers, give the gift of life. Sign up to be an organ donor. I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace.
Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Real Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by Woody Overton and executive producer Toby Tomplay.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woo-hooer, a hand clapper, a high-fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.